Hello friends, welcome to chess training. Myself Nikhil Joshi welcomes you to today's classroom. Today we are going to learn king and pawn endings few concepts. In this first example, it is the case of the G file pawn. In this example, it is white to play and win. Now what will happen? The young players will try to push this pawn, and you see what it results into? It results into a stalemate, as black king is left with no squares to go anywhere. When we do a stalemate, it's a draw, right? So we don't want a draw. What should white play? He starts with the move king to g6. See, this is the typical technique when you are playing with the G file pawn or the B file pawn, that your king must reach in the corner. So see how he does it. King G6, black takes the opposition. King H6, black again takes the opposition. But now when white pushes his pawn, it's black to play. So what he must do? He must give up the opposition. As he gives up the opposition, our pawn walks forward, and now with the support of our king, we control the h8 square. Because of this, we are not allowing the black king to go in the corner. So as he comes to f7, we play king h7, supporting the queening square, and as he goes away, we make a queen. So from this point, white will be winning. Let's now go to the example where we have the pawn on the B file. It's the same technique. Of course, if we push the pawn, then it results in a stalemate, and we don't want a stalemate. We don't want to draw. We want to win the match. So what should we do? White starts with the move king b6. Black takes the opposition. Now we go in the corner, and black again takes the opposition. Now white pushes his pawn and forces black to give up the opposition. So as he gives up the opposition, white pawn again goes forward, and when black plays king to c7, we play the move king to a7, and here we are supporting the queening square. As black king goes away, we make a new queen. So friends, let's now go to the next concept. The next concept is about the doubled pawns and the opposition. So friends, in this example, it is white to play. As we can see, the white is left with alone king. There is nothing else left with him. So obviously, white is going to try to do a draw. Now, where should he go? He has three choices: c1, d1 and e1. If we go to the square c1 or e1, either of the two, then black king will come forward and take the opposition. As we go up aside, he will come forward and control the c1 square, forcing us to go forward and come down to control the queening square. And black will win the game. So what we should be doing? In the starting position itself, white plays king d1. Now, because of his own pawn, the black cannot take the opposition. So he plays king c3. As he comes here, we take the opposition. Now what can black do? There are two ways for black to go forward. Let's say he pushes the pawn and gives us a check. Now we can go to the square d1, the physical blockade of the pawn. Now if the king or the black pawn, either of them, let's say, come here, then this results in a stalemate and match draw. White is achieving his objectives. So that's why the black king goes back. As he goes back, we take his pawn. He pushes the pawn forward. There is a general rule in king and pawn endgame that king should be ahead of the pawn. As the black pawn is coming down, the black king should have been ahead of him, but now he is behind the pawn. So this will favor white. White plays king d1, not allowing black to take any opposition. As black king comes here, we go in front of him and take the opposition. If he goes back, we will of course go forward. When he gives us a check, we block him. And as he comes to d3, since if he goes back, the pawn will be captured. So as he goes to d3, this results in a stalemate. Now let's go back a few steps. We were standing at this point and we were analyzing, if he plays d2, then king d1 and draw will happen. What if he goes back? Then we can just walk forward to attack his pawn. As he goes back, take the pawn. He comes over here. Now see, the black pawn is coming down and the king is not able to come forward. White plays king d2. King e4. White plays king e2. Pawn push, check. King d2. King d4. Now the critical point is reached. Where should we go? If we go e1 or c1, black will be able to take the opposition. That's why we go to d1. King comes here. King e1. Pawn push. King d1. And finally king d3 results in a stalemate. So friends, did you like these examples? If yes, let's go to the next example. In this example, it is white to play. Just like the last example, these are also the doubled pawns. The doubled pawns cannot support each other. So you see, if this pawn would have been on the f5, these are connected ones. So these can help or support each other. But here it is not so. It's white's chance. He must advance his king to help the pawns. But where will he go? Let's say he goes to f4. And that's an error. Because black king will come here, he will attack this fellow. And white must go away from it because he cannot stand here. Whatever white may play, he will simply lose the pawn. The other pawn is also under attack. So we must go behind. Now see, black has achieved this position where the king is behind the pawn. To win the game, king should be ahead of the pawn. We will see this part. Now see, we were standing at this point. So white starts with the move king to e4. Black plays king g6. White plays king f4, which gives him a support. King g7. King f5. See, important move. Because we are controlling these three squares, now black king cannot come to attack our pawn. So when he goes f7, we push the pawn. Of course he will block us. King goes here. King g8. Now see, this is the pawn of the g file. In this video only, we have learnt this idea that if you are trying to make a queen out of the g file pawn, the king must go in the corner. As he goes in the corner, black king comes forward and takes the opposition. Now we push our pawn attacking the king, and as he goes here, we should not play king g6 but g5. See, this pawn move allows us to waste a move. As we waste a move, our turn shifts on black, and as he comes out, we move forward, and now we control the queening square. As we make a new queen, black resigns the game. So friends, did you like these examples? If yes, please share this video with your friends, subscribe my channel, and enjoy the exciting chess lessons. Thank you. Have a good day.